record.
Yeah, it certainly worked. Hey, you're an expert at this, aren't you, Gordon, with the help of that old Google?
Just have to put it in the Google, don't you?
So what do you want to talk about today, then? Anything in mind?
No, I thought I was hoping that you were going to guide me.
Well, I was actually thinking, like today, this morning, I've been doing, the past few days, I've been doing quite a few meditations under my pyramid. You can see it over my shoulder, can't you, the pyramid. And I found when I'm sort of guided to do the hypnosis and the self-hypnosis and the meditations at certain times, I just get this higher self saying, do your meditation in that this morning, okay? So I started following the advice. And this morning, I've actually made a video about it, what I'm going to put out in a bit, but I did want to talk about that because I wanted to know if you'd experienced anything like this, because obviously you're very experienced with the self-hypnosis and regressions and all that. So anyway, I started doing meditation. My dog's here, by the way, so he keeps saying hello. Yeah, so I started doing my meditation. And basically, I sort of, it turned into a self-hypnosis, it just sort of migrated into a self-hypnosis. And what I was asking was basically I'm trying to get to the point where I never ever get the inkling to have a drink of wine ever again. You know what I mean? Because I enjoy a drink. I love having a drink, but I know it has a detrimental effect on me spiritually, and I know it does weight-wise as well. So, I mean, it's not that I don't have to drink all the time. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been losing weight for about 6 weeks now. Not on the drop. Don't bother me. Apart from a little tipple at Christmas, don't bother me at all. But I still have that. Fancy a drink tonight? I'll go out with the lads, or you know what I mean. And I want to get rid of that feeling. And I've been doing a lot of meditating on it. And anyway, so today I started doing that under the pyramid, and I got took back to a previous part in my life. Now, what I was communicating is the fact that when I think I was about 8 or 9, I started saying, so I'm doing like a self-hypnosis past life, and I could see myself. And I was in an old house. There was me about 8 or 9, something like that, and my brother, he was 11 years older than me. And this image I got, I'm banging on the bathroom door, crying, sheer terror. And what had happened is, downstairs on the radio, I didn't know this, but they were playing a test for a nuclear attack, right? So it was the air raid siren were going, and even the air raid siren in the local school was going off to simulate. I didn't know it was simulation. I thought it was real. So I thought I got 3 minutes to live, basically. And I was shit myself. And I think what happened is at that point, it opened up me to get like an attachment to me. And I was shown this little boy who had passed over himself, but was terrified for different reasons, come to me and become attached himself to me. And he was about the same age as me. No animosity, no evilness to him. He was just a lost boy, and he seemed to be attracted to my energy and the fact that I was scared, and it sort of, however it works, it attached to me. And I was shown then through my life how this attachment then, first memory I'd had was having a big bottle of Coca-Cola, 2 litre, back in the day. We're all full fat on it, loads of sugar. But me and my mate, for some reason, we got a real buzz out of putting extra sugar into the bottles of Coke.
Wow.
So it didn't, it spurts over it. So a bit my bit. But what I was shown was that was the first step in gratification when you're getting a bit stressed out about things. So this, like, with this entity of me is like working together, I suppose, in a way, it become a bit of a crux, like, what's the word now?
Crutch
for certain situations. So fast forward in my life, and then that turned into sweets. So then I eat sweets when I was stressed out. Then I got to about 14-year-old, and then I had a tipple with my dad's rum. Oh, that was it then. So then it was alcohol. So it seemed to be replaced by the alcohol.
Yeah.
So I was watching this progressive myself and thinking, wow. So it all started from that terror of being scared, thinking I was going to die in 3 minutes, and then this attachment comes. So what I did, I played it by ear, to be honest with you, Gordon, this morning. And I talked to this child, and I thanked it for what it had done and explained what had happened. And I tried to, and it understood it. It got it in the end. And then I said, look, can you see any lights around you? And there was this pinprick of light, and it got bigger. And I said, look, is there anyone there you recognise? And then he recognised his grandma, and he went towards his grandma, and then he just thanked me and went. Now, at that point, then in my self-hypnosis meditation, I'm thinking, wow, that's never happened to me like that in a that sort of situation. I was like, wow. So I came back out of it, and I have to feel, I got up and I went to the toilet. I felt lighter. I actually felt like something had gone. But not like it wasn't like, because like I say, it wasn't an evil child, it wasn't an evil presence or anything. It was just a lost soul, basically. But it's I was sure it was my granddad actually was actually showing me this, because I found out he's one of my major guides. I found that the other week, and he was actually showing me the progression of where this enjoyment of alcohol came from. So, what an addiction! It's the enjoyment, but it all started with that little boy, and I'm like, wow. So, my question to you is: you've been doing all this stuff many years. Have you come across anything similar to that? Is that normal? Does it happen a lot? Do you know?
Okay. So the what I would say is that I've worked with a lot of people who wanted to get rid of alcohol out of their life. I've worked with alcoholics, what you would call somebody who's officially agreed that they're an alcoholic, although I've got my opinion about what that means. And what I know is that every single person who has a problem with alcohol has the root in the childhood.
Right.
The childhood is where they made a decision that for whatever reason they were going to use alcohol as a crutch as they get older, always in the childhood.
Yeah. Wow.
It isn't something that happens later on. And but people might say, no, but I didn't start alcohol until I was in my 20s. That's very common. It doesn't matter. The link, if you find out what it was that triggered you off in your 20s that started you to drink, you'll find it'll go back to when you're a child, typically the first 7 years. So it ties in nicely with what you've described. Whether what we get I'm very, I've been doing these past life regressions for forever now, and it never ceases to amaze me, the information that comes to people. But I'm also, what I don't like to do is to say, that's going to be fact, and that's going to be exactly what the case was, because the unconscious mind deals in metaphor. It's the most, it loves metaphor.
Yeah.
And so when we're given these things, it really doesn't matter. If that boy, that entity was a real entity, if your memory was a real memory, or if it wasn't, it really doesn't matter. The proof of the pudding is, do you feel lighter afterwards? Which, do you feel the difference?
Oh, yes, I did, yeah.
And what's it going to do? How do you feel about alcohol now that you've had that experience?
Well, it's strange you should say that, because before I'd done this, I've been feeling like it for a few weeks now. And I was discussing it with my wife the other day. And I said to her, look, I've just got to the point where I'm not bothered. I actually got to that point already, but I was still intrigued to know if there was any sort of attachment, what keeps triggering it. And I think that's why I was shown what I was shown, because to me, well, as far as I'm concerned, it was a real entity. What was part of what was that? And because the fact that my granddad came to me, he's only just shown himself to me quite recently in another one I did under the pyramid as what, like the main sort of guide or whatever, protector of me, whatever. But I do. I feel like I've really turned the corner, because I don't know about you, but the energies are just rising and rising and rising, aren't they, on this planet? And I'm finding that myself and everyone I know is just getting more spiritual, getting more connected. Gifts are coming through. Like the other day, for instance, I was doing a regression with a lady, and a higher self just would not tell her. It was one of those situations. She was just stood there. She was laughing at her, but in a loving, laughing way.
Sure.
And she was getting quite frustrated, this lady. She really wanted to know these answers. And I actually saw the higher self, could see the picture. And this has never happened to me before, but I could actually see the higher self, and she communicated with me and told me what to tell her after the hypnosis. And like, that's an extension. I've never experienced that before. And I thought, wow, that's definitely more gifts coming, or just reawakening what we all already can do. You know what I mean? And I think it's all part of this huge. I mean, I watch your videos all the time, and the one you did yesterday about the elephant with the cork. I was pissing myself listening to that, I'll tell you. But yeah, it's just, I just love the way you use that, the way you use the analogy. And it's right what you're saying, trying to put the coat back in the elephant's arse. It's just way too late, isn't it? It can't.
Sure.
It can't. They've pushed it too far, too quickly. And it's impossible. I mean, I'm coming across people. I mean, for instance, my mother-in-law, Ina, go back 2 years. She was one of the most in-the-box people ever. The mention of a David Icke, for instance, nutcase. Just a typical person what just watched the news, thought all that was reality. And now I can ring her up and we can have discussions about past lives, future lives, different dimensions. And she's getting it. She's starting to get it all. And it's like, wow. And I thought, I was thinking to myself, that's how I know. So how many people out there, how many billions of people are experiencing similar situations like that? And it's just adding, isn't it? The more people do it, it's like a massive snowball. It's just accelerating, yeah. So it's going to be exciting times coming up, I feel. What about you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, I want to take you back to something you said, because I mean, you know, alcohol consumption is a major problem. It's a major problem for people. And you said, I'm getting to the stage where I'm just not really interested anymore. Okay. That is actually the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. When people are wanting to stop doing something addictive, what they've got to get to is this place of, I couldn't give a shit anymore. I'm not interested. Yeah. What happens, unfortunately, is that with alcohol, for example, I don't know, have you ever talked to somebody who's in Alcoholics Anonymous?
Yes, my brother. He was sober for 25 years until he fell off the wagon again. But so I do. Yeah.
So what happens with people who are in alcohol, and you know, an Alcoholic Anonymous, what a wonderful job they've done, and it's a religion. It's actually a religion. I can feel it. It's a cult. Yeah. But fine. Let it be what it is. My only concern with when I talk to anybody who's in Alcoholics Anonymous is that they within 2 minutes they will tell me how long they haven't had a drink. Okay.
Yeah, so they're counting. Yeah.
They'll say, yeah, because it's been 33 years, 7 weeks, 2 days, and 4 minutes, right? and my concern with that is, what the hell are you still thinking about alcohol for?
Yeah.
You know, and the it's almost like, right, no, the next step is where, for example, I'll give you an example. I had a serious issue with alcohol all of my life. The reason I had a serious issue with alcohol is because as I was a child and I had a traumatic upbringing, the only happiness I ever had as a child was when my parents were drunk and were having fun with one another and laughing. And so I linked fun and happiness with alcohol.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. So when I got to the stage where I could have alcohol, I was a happy drunk. I was happy because for me, alcohol was happiness. So I had a serious issue with it, and I couldn't stop drinking until I did my, you know, we all do our bits. We all do our spiritual bits to get there. But then now I don't think about I'm not interested in alcohol. Just as you said, I couldn't give a shit. You know, and the thing is, if people drink, I'm happy for them. If they want to drink, fine, super. You know, so that's my concern with anybody who's come through that route and who is still obsessed with alcohol, even though they're obsessed with not drinking it. Yeah, to me, that ain't that much healthier than being obsessed with drinking it.
They're just like an abstainer, aren't they? They're not cured from it, are they? Yeah. I mean, I went out just after Christmas. It was a few weeks back, actually, a couple of weeks ago. It was my wife's sort of late Christmas do in I think about 15th of January, something like that. And we went out into town. And all her workmates, they're all male because she's like the only female that works there, and they're all like manual labour. She works in the office sort of environment, and they were all pissed out their head, every one of them, including the boss. They were a free bar because he paid for it all, and I'm sat there with Jules just drinking orange juice, and I was actually looking around, thinking, God, I used to be one of them. But yeah, when I said that, I'm thinking, but you still are, aren't you? You still have a drink. You still, but no, I didn't. I felt like, God, I used to be like that, didn't I? I used to think it was so much fun. And now I just look and think, oh well, fair enough. Each to your own. Yeah, so very much similar to like you were saying. Yeah. So that was before that happened today. So I think more intrigued more than anything, Gordon, today. Just what I wanted to know how it started. I wanted to know if it did start somewhere, and I mean that's where I was shown. So who knows? I don't know.
Absolutely, and roll with what we're showing. What I'm discovering more and more, Alan, is that we have no control over what's given to us in these states of hypnosis or meditation or whatever. We really got to trust what comes, as in this has been given to us. This is whether as I say, whether it's a metaphor, whether it's real, whether it's just a little story to help you to shift. But all of these messages are coming through because they want us to shift, that we need to be shifting now. It's time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on like a new earth, a new paradigm? I mean, it's quite a controversial subject for people in this spiritual sort of realm, isn't it? I mean, I did a video the other week where I was under the pyramid again, and I sort of experienced like a 7D earth, and like it was already there, and it's already waiting for us. But I have no clue how we get there, and I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts? And do you think it's just going to be this earth we're on now is just literally going to just change miraculously over a space of time, however long that is? Or do you think there's going to be more of a, I don't know, are we just going to suddenly wake up one day and we're in like the more paradise earth and we just think, oh, we made it? Or do we have to die and pass on to go there? I don't know. I'm just intrigued to wonder what your thoughts was. Or bit of everything, maybe it's all
good question. The feeling that I get, and again, when I'm talking to the emissaries, they're constantly giving me visions of stuff, metaphors, always. So as you were asking that question, they give me an image, which was of when you're outside and it's cloudy, and it's it's just cloudy and everything's in shadow. And then at some point, the sun breaks through a cloud and you can watch the sunshine come toward you and it overtakes you. And then suddenly everything's sunshine. That's just exactly what they showed me.
Wow.
So I get the sense that the change, the new world is a world in which the light comes on, right? Whatever that means, that's understanding, that's vibration, frequency, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's going to roll out. I don't think it's going to be waking up in the morning, but it is, but it's going to be so gradual that just waking up one morning won't do it. We're going to have to wake up a good few mornings. But every time that we wake up, there's going to be more light, there's going to be more brightness, there's going to be more of that vibration that we seek.
Yeah.
So I think it's, the people talk about the rapture, the ascension, and all of that, and I think that's a metaphor. And I think the reality is, this has been a long journey, Alan. This is the whatever it is, 26,000 years. It hasn't. Although we've moved into the age of light, and we're starting to see that, we've got a long way to go. And if I understand it rightly, the journey is to take us to that midpoint in the goodest and the brightest and the lightest it's going to be, where we're in the days of those places that disappeared, Lemuria and all of those, Atlantis, where they were right in the thick of it. So I think we've got a long way to go before we get there. But it's this process of constant improvement, constant shifting. So
do you think, I mean, this is my personal the 26,000-year cycle. I actually think that this is the end of those cycles. I think I think we've gone around those cycles so many times, and I think we've all needed it as souls to progress and learn more lessons and keep going back to the darker times, the lighter times. But I feel that now that's going to come to an end. I think it's going to be a different type of existence. I think this Earth's going to be something what's never been before, something of like a spiritual and a physical melded together somehow. I don't really know what I mean, but I feel that that's what it's going to be, something new, something what we've not had before. So that's my personal belief. And I like that idea, because I don't really want to go on another circle again for another 26,000 years and go through all that shit again. I'd like to move on to the next, whatever, the next progression of us souls through this universe, until we gradually get to the point where we're ready to go back to source and say, okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a lovely idea. Hey, let me add something into the mix. What if there's only one 26,000 year cycle? There's only ever been one. And what if what we do is choose to dip in and dip out of that cycle and experience it in whatever way we want?
I get that. Yeah.
And
like the analogy of the LP record, where like I did a video that way, it's sort of going on different grooves, and then it's all one big record, and
sure,
it's there, but it just depends where you put your needle, and
what music we want to listen to in this particular experience. I don't know. I really don't know. The feeling that I get is that we choose to be where we want to be, to have the experience that we want to have, but that's the nice thing, is that we have chosen. We're not forced. We're not forced into this. That's not the sense that I get. We've chosen to be here. And of course, it makes absolute sense for us to say, for God's sake, this is the last time round. This is the last run on this bloody roller coaster, because of what we're going through and what we've been through, So I don't know. I really don't know. And do you know, it doesn't worry me that I don't know, Alan.
No, me either. No, it's all part of the adventure, isn't it? Yeah, it's all
absolutely
part of the discovery. Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I do think it's like, whatever you want to call it, the 26,000 year cycle. I do think it's created by us. I think in our higher dimensions, I think we created all this as a one big playground, like a big, massive, the ultimate fun ground to experience physicality. I mean, I've said it in numerous times. I mean, must get pretty tedious living forever.
Yeah.
Never ending. I mean, why not make the most elaborate existence as possible, and the most amazing mazes to get out of, just to but at the same time, you're expanding the knowledge of source, because you're all experiencing physicality instead of just being the all-knowing, you know what I mean? Cut off, so to speak. Yeah. So it's all one big massive experience, and it's great to be part of it.
Absolutely, yeah. And when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I used to have to go knocking on people's doors to tell them a load of crap, the question that we all were always taught to ask people was, what would life be like on a paradise earth, living forever on a paradise earth? And you know what? And then when we talk about it, people are so switched off, because the majority of the answers would be, well, that would be really boring. Okay, that was what people would say. I think that would be really boring. And I used to hear this from people, and I used to think, are you crazy? But of course it's true. It's true. You know, that what happens, what I see in this world is, when people have too much of a good thing, they start to self-sabotage, and they will, if their life is good, boring good, they'll do something to damage it, to make sure to have a little bit of a paper tiger, the paper tiger through the cage. That's what people need, and that's who we are. I do believe that's why, when we look at this history of mankind, we get to this wonderful place, and then we fuck it up, because it's like, no, I'm not gonna have this is too nice, isn't it? Boring.
But what about the other side of it? So let's say in this scenario where it's getting boring. So let's just look at it from a really big perspective, that we're all there as like forever beings in a light body, whatever. And we decide to come, I'll play the baddie this time. How's about that? You can be the invading evil force, but then takes over Earth again and plunges us back into the dark days and disconnection and all that. And then just playing different roles each time. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, what's 26,000 years when you live forever? Nothing, is it?
Well, exactly. You know, one of the things.
Ocean.
One of the things that the emissary said to me, and they've said this a number of times, and I've always thought, got to be careful what I say here. But they say the people who choose to come down here and be extremely evil, they're actually the bigger souls, because they know that they have trapped themselves into this karmic cycle. It's going to take them a long time to get through it, and so they sacrifice themselves
just so we can have those experiences. Absolutely, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I've said that before. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like the people that take the jab in the arm and die. I mean, you get all these people that are newly waking up screaming and shouting sheeple and you idiots and all that, but I just see as they're the bravest, because from a point of view where you're all-knowing being, you're deciding to come in here to sacrifice yourself and be called an idiot and be remembered as an idiot. But then again, you might be waking your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter up to the stuff we're in. So you're sacrificing yourself, aren't you? And then you're going to the other extreme. Let's say you're Adolf Hitler, let's just say. I mean, look at all the karma heal are cured, but then again, people might want to come into this experience and experience hardship, being tortured, being killed. It sounds sick, but you know, when you live forever and you want to experience every possible emotion, then you're going to have to go through those things, aren't you? I mean, it's not good for people to think about this stuff, but at the end of the day, if you look at it from that highest perspective, then that's the only way to look at it, isn't it? You know what I mean? We all got to play as parts to give each other these experiences. I mean, it's like my son, he plays on his Xbox all the time. Now, if he turned around and started calling all the baddies in his Xbox evil and started kicking the TV and smashing his game up because they were evil, then everybody'd laugh at him. But in reality, that's what people are doing on this planet, aren't they? If we're all in a game and all playing a game, but we're just going through all these it feels real at the time when you're in it, but when you're the guy on the PlayStation doing the controlling, you think, why take it so serious? It's just a game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sure. But it feels so real, doesn't it? Like when somebody's doing something evil to you and you're being abused and all that. Of course, yeah, it's horrible, horrific when you're in the game, but then when you're out of it, you can see what it was all about, can't you? Yeah.
Sure. And we're in a difficult place because we've got to play the game, play up and play the game. And at the same time, we've got to keep a part of us remembering that it's a game. But you can't have that at the forefront. It's got to be at the back of your mind. Yeah. Because if you don't play the game properly, there's no point in being here.
Playing it. Yeah. Yeah.
There's no point in being here. You know, these people who retreat off and start, you know, meditating for all of their life in a monastery, that ain't living life. Yeah. You know, they go, oh, I'm this so spiritual. No, you know, if you lock yourself up in a monastery, it's fairly easy to do the work. You know, it's when you're out in the real world. I think somebody in a book that I read by Anthony de Mello, he was saying that the most spiritual people are the ones who are living life to the full and managing to keep themselves spiritual.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Wow. And there's different ways of being spiritual as well. You know, we're in the realm of, you know, we talk about all this stuff openly, but people who just do like extreme sports and stuff like that, they must be in a really meditative, spiritual place when they're doing these extreme sports. And it must, I mean, it's not for me, it's not my cup of tea, but you know what I mean? But there must be in a sort of really special place to do those sort of extreme activities, what they're doing, stuff like that. Everyone meditates and spiritual in their own ways, aren't they? I mean, myself personally, I find a lot of spirituality just with my dog. It's just the love you get off animals is just, it's unparalleled, isn't it? It's unconditional. I mean, my dog don't care if I'm fat, slim, rich, poor, living in a mansion or living on the street. He don't care as long as he's with me and I give him a pat. I mean, for me, that's a meditative state, just cuddling your dog. I mean, a lot of people get a lot of joy from that. Just nature itself, isn't it? Being in nature, just enjoying it, being a farmer. You know, very, very spiritual things, living off the land and stuff like that. But a lot of people don't see it that way, do they? They think you've got to be, like you say, I mean, the top of a monastery going, no, sure. Not for me, definitely.
And I think what I've noticed is that the more the more you get tuned into spirituality, the more you see it in everything. That you don't, going to church isn't something necessary now to get in touch with your spirituality. You can find it in everything.
Yeah.
As to say, before enlightenment, chopsticks and carry water. After enlightenment, chopsticks and carry water. Everything's the same, but it's not. It's completely different.
No. It's like the analogy where you're in a traffic jam, isn't it? You've got the person what's banging on the arm and screaming his head off, and then you've got the other person what's just chilling out listening to music. Same situation, totally different experience, isn't it? Yeah. So it's just perspective on it. Yeah. Wow. Amazing. So what you're up to then, apart from how's it going with your hypnosis academy and all that? Is that
going really well? We did I mean, both times JCK has helped out so much by getting me on a show and promoting it. I mean, without her help, it wouldn't be what it is. But we ran the first weekend, which is just doing the hypnosis, which is like the first half of the course that you did.
Yeah.
Just the clinical hypnosis part. Because I am extremely brutish, I did 2 courses on the same day across the weekend. So it was like 8 hours of teaching hypnosis and 8 hours of teaching hypnosis the next day. But it was fantastic. And we had like nearly 40 people in each group.
Wow.
Which was lovely. And lots of them want to go on and take other courses, because I'm going to be running the, lots of courses on helping people. Yeah. But what was really nice, Alan? And again, it's a learning process for me. The people who go into hypnosis the best are people on hypnosis courses, and obviously that makes sense, doesn't it? People who are on a hypnosis course. I mean, so I'd be doing I did a demonstration of how you can help somebody into hypnosis without any hypnotic induction. You just tell them that they're going to go into hypnosis, and they're going to hypnosis. Okay. So I did that with, I don't know if you remember
Victoria.
Renske I did.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we did, but what I was noticing every time that I was doing this, I would say to people, the people, I would say, right, who wants to be my victim? And then I would say, are you happy to go into hypnosis with me now? Okay. Just that question. And everybody, without exception, was sitting there going, yes. And I said, they've already got their eyes closed. They're already going into hypnosis. I've only asked them if they're willing to do it, And it reminded me, because I used to do this when I did live hypnosis, demonstrations, and show how easily people go into hypnosis. So it was nice just to remind myself, even online, when somebody wants to go into hypnosis, it's hard to stop them.
Yeah,
really is.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, some of the ones I've done recently, I've had one person wanted to, but it didn't happen. And then when I was actually doing the hypnosis on the Zoom call, I could hear this noise. I was talking and I could hear this interference on their side, and it just sounded like a little muffle to me. So I was watching him as I was doing the hypnosis, and he wasn't showing any signs. His eyes wasn't flickering, his head wasn't moving forward. So I persevered. Anyway, the time we'd finished, and he basically said that it was trying his best, but he couldn't do it because of the interference he was getting. So I said, well, I could hear something this side. He went, oh, it's not what he could hear on my side. He said it was actual voice coming out of the computer, screaming at him in the dark, like a demonic voice. But all I could hear on my side was, it's like a little, like sometimes you can get a bit of feedback when somebody's on a computer and you're on your microphone. I just put it down to that, but no, he literally said there was something growling at him, making these noises, or he didn't know what it was. And he just couldn't get hypnotized because of that. So I thought, well, who knows? Maybe either is it something for his greater good? Maybe it wasn't time for him to be hypnotized, or was it some sort of entity was around what was interfering. I mean, there's AI entities, we know that, don't we, lurk around on the internet trying to stop people progressing. So I don't know, but yeah, that's one little one what went down in the memory books. Yeah. Yeah, have you ever come across anything similar, any interference like that on a sort of technology wise? Not just the sheer fact that things are faulty, but something a bit more whatever.
No, I haven't. I mean, the most interesting one that happened to me recently was with a lady, and she was a very spiritual lady, and she'd done an awful lot of work, like in other areas of spirituality, like the ones I wasn't familiar with, but I knew she'd done an awful lot of work. And so she said, well, I don't know if I'm going to be hypnotized, but everybody says that, I don't know if it'll work with me. So we got into the process, and she went beautifully into hypnosis. She was deeply in hypnosis. We went to the past life, went through the door, and I said, so what are you aware of? And she goes, I'm aware that there's a big reptile in front of me. I said, okay, all right. So, I always teach people, whatever's happening, calm. You can panic on the inside, calm on the outside. Very good. So help me understand, what is the purpose of this reptile here? And she said, to stop me from coming in. I said, okay. So does that mean that you can't go any further than this? That's right. It says this far and no further. So I said, well, why don't we come out of there? Obviously, whenever that happens, Alan, and I'm sure you have the same experience, when I'm being told no, I take no as the answer. I don't try and manipulate things or do a sneaky or whatever. If I'm being told no by a big F-off reptile, for me, that's no. Yeah. So we came out of there, and I took her in the elevator up to the higher self, got there, and I said, higher self, are you willing to answer these questions? And the answer instantly was no. So I said, okay, then let's get back in the lift. And so the whole session lasted about 15 minutes, because she just got no and no. Yep. And she was happy as Larry. Yeah. Happy as Larry. She said, well, that's the answer. I said, I'm sorry, but I can't pursue it. I can't push it. If I'm told no, I've got to respect that. Otherwise, if you don't respect that, then it could cause you problems in the future, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I got a big 9-foot reptile say no. Okay, bye.
Fair enough. Can I have your autograph before we go?
Yeah, awesome. Well, I've really enjoyed our little chat of you.
Yes, indeed, Alan. Yeah,
and have a bit of a tune back. So we'll do it again sometime in the future, maybe. Or
it would be a pleasure. It would be a pleasure, Alan.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks a lot.
Okay, and good luck with your new career and all of your work that you're doing to help people. Well done.
Yeah, same to you, mate. All right. Thanks a lot, pal. All right. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.